So, um, yeah. So, you have any thoughts?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. In today's world, a lot of women and men, but for this video, a lot of women struggle with making themselves appear attractive and wanted, trying to get satisfaction from everywhere but from God. And it's not on them, but as a society that has created this image that subconsciously tells us this is how we should be, this is how we should look, this is how we should live. I know God has changed my view on it since He's changed my heart. So how has He changed your look on all of this? And what are some words of hope to others who may be struggling with their identity?
Mm. Yeah, this is a hard struggle. And it almost seems like a cyclical thing. And I don't know if you guys have caught on by now. I answer questions much more narratively, more anecdotally. Um, I had somebody ask me straight out one time, "Are you content with the way you look?" And I
Oh
was
wow!
like,
Oh wow!
yeah, I was like,
Very blunt.
because you know, the godly answer that everybody would want to give is yes. But man, I had to bring that before the Lord because I could not honestly answer yes. And again, this just keeps coming back to like his ways are higher. Like,
Mm.
who's God here? Who, like, Emilee, are you trying to be God of your own life still? Like, are you, what did you say, Jess? The old has passed away and the new has come. Are you holding on to this old or are you putting off the old?
Mm.
Right? And the beautiful thing is, actually, the less that I focus on myself and fix my eyes on Messiah, the more he's healed me. And that is a huge testimony to the Lord's sovereignty and power, because that is something that 10 plus years of like self-help and going to therapy and like actively pursuing self-healing could not do, for
Mm.
the very fact that it was so focused on me, right? And like, oh, but the freedom that comes from realizing the word of the Lord is true,
Mm.
and our identity is in Messiah. I've been crucified with Messiah. No longer I live, but Messiah is living in me.
Mm.
And that every human is made in the image of God,
Yeah.
right? And I'm going to look at myself in the mirror and be like, yeah, no, no.
Wow.
So it's, it's, it's arrogant, actually.
Mm.
And that's on me. And I know that it's a struggle, and there's so much pain in it, and there's something behind that pain, right? To say, like, somewhere along the lines we're taught we're not good enough.
Mm.
But that's a lie from our flesh, and that's a lie from the enemy. And we have to take that thought captive, submit it to the Lord, because he says, you're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, like this is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's all temporary. And anything could happen at any moment. You could be the most conventionally beautiful person on the planet and have like like just be beautiful in all standards of whatever societal beauty is. And something could come and take it away in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's again putting the Lord is our rock,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. He's our cornerstone.
He's our cornerstone. He is our identity. And that's
Mm-hmm.
all that I can say is just like trust him, trust his word, trust that he is good.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what's just like that's what's been transforming and freeing me from this obsession with myself and what I look like and this, that, and the other. And not to say I don't struggle with it still.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, we all have struggle with self-image.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's with beauty, whether it's with um, you know, social media presence, or whether it be with some kind of other presence, how how the world sees us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an ego check, you know, you know, and the Lord, whether we do it willingly or God does this for us, He's going to keep us in check. Um, and I'm reminded of what Yeshua says in Matthew chapter 6. You know, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth,
Mm-hmm.
where moth and dust and thieves will destroy, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither dust, moth, thieves will destroy. And like where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
Yeah.
And so, are we focused on ourselves? And especially if we're believers, are we focused on our identity, focused on how we look to the world, or are we focused on Messiah just creating us and that we are, yes, none are good, not one, but
Mm-hmm.
in Messiah, we are made perfect. In Messiah, we are perfectly and wonderfully made because we are his children. We are made in his image, in his likeness. And like you said, to say that we are not beautiful, regardless of how we think we look, God looks down on us and said, I made that.
Mm-hmm.
I made that. And he, she are mine.
Yeah.
And that's, and no one could love us more than our Creator. He formed us in his image out of nothing, out of dust and his own breath. And he himself came down and bled and died for us because he wanted a relationship with us, even though we didn't, even though we pushed him away, but it says Zechariah that they will look upon me whom they have pierced. And that's beautiful. And I can't wait for that day. I can't wait for that day, when he comes back, because we're going to be made just as he intended us to be made perfect, without blemish or sin, because we're made perfect. It's the sin in us that makes us think that we're imperfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not that God made a mistake. It's that
Yeah.
sin.
Yeah.
It's that sin makes us see us as imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and so, yeah. So, yeah, I can't wait for a life without sin. That'd be amazing. Oh, all right. Yes.
I would like to add, like, as a woman especially, it can be very difficult sometimes